OBGYNs, the very pro-life Dr. Kathy Lutter.
Physicians have been charged since the beginning of time with healing and improving the lives of our patients. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, eloquently stated, and I swore at the start of my medical career 31 short years ago, an oath, a promise. I will neither prescribe nor administer a lethal dose of medicine to any patient, even if asked, nor counsel any such thing, nor perform these acts. I will have the utmost respect for every human life, from fertilization to natural death, and reject abortion that deliberately takes a human life. End of quote. In Columbus, Ohio in 2015, I stand before you and ask that you consider that the abortion industry is in full swing, with the cooperation of the federal government and at taxpayers' dime. Physicians who are old enough to know better and skilled enough to do better have now been exposed for openly admitting that the loss of life and their huge salaries are not enough. They are now drawn, like defiant teenagers, to push the envelope even further. Planned Parenthood's record is extensive with regards to their betrayal of the practice of medicine and betrayal to women. For today's purposes, I've made my top 10 list of objections. Number 10, safety. Following state safety standards for safety is not as lucrative as cutting corners and pushing quotas. Avoiding healthcare regulations intended to keep women safe is not enough. So now they push for later terminations in order to harvest more saleable tissues and less crunchy techniques, which would put more patients at risk. Number 9, as we've heard before, protecting minor safety takes a back seat to the income generated from these abortions on victims of sexual abuse. Parental notification and notification of the proper authorities can be such a nuisance when there are abortions to be done. Number 8, those pesky little rules such as transport requirements to collaborating hospitals in the event that if an abortion goes badly and our complications ensue, those requirements are subservient to the needs to conceal these complications from the media. Number 7, Department of Health site visits are viewed as an attack upon the untouchable Planned Parenthood complex, despite the fact that every other clinic in the United States of America must comply with credentialing requirements for employees, safety and sterility operations, and informed consent for all operations. Number 6, offering transvaginal ultrasounds to help women understand the fullness of their decision. F-U-L-L-N-E-S, the fullness, the complexity of their decision, and to the operation that they consent to, is viewed as misogynistic and a threat to Planned Parenthood's bottom line. Number 5, the AMA's Code of Ethics specifically states, I'm not talking about federal law, I'm talking about the Code of Ethics that each of us sign off on as we become physicians. And I quote, only the potential donor and not the donor's family or any third party may be given the option of accepting financial incentives for organ donation. In addition, the potential donor must be a competent adult when the decision to donate is given. I don't know about you, but there is no doubt to me that the DNA of that liver, or those lungs, or that heart matches the fetus and not the mother. And the ability to give consent from a fetus is impossible. This clarifies, in my mind at least, who the donor really is. And further, the AMA iterates that the physician's interest in advancing scientific knowledge through research, the part that is supposed to be the silver lining in all this abortion industry, the physician's recommendations must always be secondary to his or her concern for the patient, the donor. Not the patient, the mother, but the patient, the donor. Number 4, Planned Parenthood continues to propagate the myth that their main business is preventive care. The number of well-woman exams has plummeted, including the most precipitous drop since the initiation of the Affordable Care Act, which allows high school and college girls to continue with their private physicians and pediatricians while under their paid parents' insurance plan until age 26. We have been betrayed into believing that women will suffer without the machinery of Planned Parenthood, protecting them from cancer and sexually transmitted diseases. stand here today to declare this to be false. My colleagues and I are already providing these services with continuity, with heart, and with deep regard to the whole patient. Number 3, Planned Parenthood insists that fetal organs are the only possible way to ensure cures for cancer, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, and this week, their new low, yes, even the Ebola virus. Seriously, stem cells from cord blood, derived at the time of live birth, and adult stem cells already provide the bulk of tissue necessary for this research. Ending one life with certainty in order to potentially save the life of another is never justified. Number 2, Planned Parenthood continues to propagate the myth that men of good conscience have no right, no business to even comment on abortion. What has passed as empowerment of women actually enslaves them as they are left alone to deal with this unplanned pregnancy alone without help from the man in their life. And lastly, on this hot day, my number one objection, Planned Parenthood has fostered the hoax that abortion is good for women. I can assure you, many women who make these difficult decisions are never the same. Modern science has now proven that traces of fetal DNA from each pregnancy are retrievable from the mother 20, 30, 40, 50 years later. There is a permanent record that this fetus exists inside the mother as a lifetime record. Many of these women carry heavy emotional scars that is very similar to this left-behind DNA. About 1 per 100,000 women undergoing abortion performed gives the life-altering sacrifice, her life, from complications of elective abortion. Just yesterday, the CDC announced how proud we were that the numbers were just 1 in 100,000. And to me, that's still not a good number. Planned Parenthood has pushed their agenda and achieved their goals at the great expense of young women. To the physicians in the first 2 videos, Drs. Nucatola and Dr. Gatter, I feel betrayed by your callousness and your arrogance. As a physician, I'm appalled by your defiance of the AMA Code of Ethics. While the videos were appalling, it did help many to fully comprehend the ugly underbelly of the abortion industry. In closing, I ask that each of you here prayerfully reflects on your role in helping to defund the abortion giant, Planned Parenthood. They have betrayed us with their intents, with their actions, and with their promises. God bless.